Welcome to the ITSM Practice Podcast.
Welcome to the ITSM Practice Podcast. I'm Luigi Ferri, and today we are joined by Casey Zduniak, a senior software engineer at Dune Security. Today, Casey will talk about how we can better protect ourselves in cyberspace by understanding information asymmetry. We'll explore ways to increase awareness within our organizations and strengthen our defenses against cyber threats. Let's get started.
My name is Casey Zduniak, and I'm a software engineer at Dune Security. Today, I want to talk about the concept of information asymmetry and how it plays a central role in user-level risk management. In cybersecurity, information asymmetry refers to the leverage that an attacker gains over an employee or an organization through access to more information. Attackers exploit these information gaps to breach security systems through social engineering techniques like phishing and business email compromise. But what if we could level the playing field? What if we could equip every employee with the right tools and knowledge to optimally recognize threats and act accordingly? These are the questions that jumpstart my mornings and keep me fervently awake at night. I want to explore how closing the information gap through granular employee risk profiling and targeted awareness training can equalize an attacker's advantage over an organization. Let's dive in. In 2016, the Austrian aircraft manufacturer Fisher Advanced Composite Components, or FACC, fell victim to a business email compromise attack that cost the company around 42 million euros. In this attack, cybercriminals impersonated the CEO by spoofing his email account. The attackers studied the CEO's communication style and crafted convincing emails requesting urgent fund transfers. Employees in the finance department, unaware of the scam, transferred millions without verification. In the aftermath of the attack, FACC invested heavily in technical solutions, specifically DMARC, or Domain-Based Message Authentication, Reporting, and Conformance, which protects against email spoofing by ensuring emails are authenticated before they reach inboxes. While DMARC is a powerful tool that might have prevented this specific incident, it only perpetuates the cat-and-mouse game that defines the cybersecurity landscape. The critical point of failure here is employee awareness. The attackers didn't breach a firewall or hack into the network. They used social engineering to trick an employee. This highlights the vulnerability, the human factor. If employees had been more aware of the threat, they might have flagged the suspicious emails before any money was transferred. FACC's story is far from unique. According to Verizon's Data Breach Investigations report, anywhere from 60 to 85% of successful breaches involve a human element, with phishing and social engineering being the most common tactics. The reason for this is clear. Attackers target human vulnerability because it's easier and more pervasive to exploit than breaking through hardened technical systems. This is precisely where granular and anonymized user risk profiling is underutilized. The solution isn't just in conferences or technology or industry standards. These can certainly create a security moat, but the real solution lies within our organizations, with our employees. Only by closing the loop between risk profiling and awareness training at its most granular level can we begin to build a security posture that is self-sustaining. So how does granular risk profiling actually work? Well, that's the million-dollar question. It starts with collecting massive amounts of data from simulated social engineering attacks. Take a phishing simulation of a given company. We gather data on how employees respond to these simulations. How many clicked the link? How many reported the email? How many submitted credentials? Based on those results, we prescribe relevant training and collect even more data on the training activity. Once we have this data, we can group it into three main categories: vulnerability signals, awareness signals, and behavioral signals. Vulnerability signals are the probability that a given user will fall for an attack based on past behavior. Awareness signals are the probability that a user is likely to report an attack based on training results. And behavioral signals encompass any anomalous activity that deviates from normal behavioral patterns, such as unusual logins or atypical working hours. By using machine learning models like Bayesian networks, we can dynamically update these three signals in real time. As an employee undergoes phishing simulations or completes training, you can build a dynamic model that adjusts their risk profile accordingly. The ultimate goal here is equilibrium, a state in which an organization and its employees are so well prepared that the cost of targeting any one employee becomes too high for the attacker. The organization that collects the most granular data will be the organization that achieves the highest possible equilibrium. Now, for a moment, imagine FACC had implemented granular risk profiling. They could have identified employees in the finance department as high risk given the nature of the roles. Perhaps their awareness signal would have been lower because they weren't trained enough to recognize CEO impersonation tactics. Or the behavioral signal could have detected the unusual request for large fund transfers as suspicious. With these indicators, employees would have been prompted for extra verification steps, potentially stopping the attack in its tracks. This is where the true power of awareness training and granular employee profiling comes into play. By identifying at-risk employees and tailoring training specifically to their needs, organizations can minimize the human element of risk. The lesson from FACC is clear. It's not just about having strong technical defenses like DMARC. Closing the information asymmetry between attackers and employees means gathering granular user risk profiling data and using it to empower employees with the knowledge and skills to defend against the ever-evolving threat of social engineering. So, as you think about your own organization's security strategy, remember, the path to a resilient cybersecurity defense is through your people, not just technology. Thank you.